name's Christina Carroll. We're
Awesome.
with
Nice
Action
to meet
Together,
you.
Burlington County.
Nice to meet you.
We have a couple other groups here today too. I think we have South Jersey Women for Progressive Change.
Okay.
Any other groups here today?
Yeah, New Jersey 3rd Congressional District Action Group.
Is that associated with Indivisible?
Yes, it is.
Great.
Action Together, Burlington County.
All right. Cool.
So our reason for being here today is to respond to Tom MacArthur's town hall comments on Monday. We were all listening on the teleconference, and when he was saying that the reason he hasn't had an in-person town hall is because protesters are being bussed in, and he suggested that protesters are outside of his constituency or are paid. We've all been very active since the election. None of us have received paychecks, as much as we would like to. And we are all within his constituency.
Sure.
We're all local people. I'm from Medford.
Sure.
And we took offense to that. And we wanted to let him know that we're here. We want him to listen to us.
Sure.
We're real people with families and lives, and we're not receiving paychecks.
Great.
And we're peaceful. We're not here to make threats. We're not here to disrupt anything. We're here just to have our voices heard and
And
our
we were
concerns.
bussed in.
And we
There's
were
buses
bussed
here.
in.
Great.
Yeah, we were not busted. We all drove here.
Is that it?
That's it. We also want to thank him again for voting no on repealing the ACA without a replacement, because it's a big concern for all of us.
Cool.
We'd like to know if he's going to be at the town hall next week at the Macy.
No,
Why not?
he will not be there.
Why?
He won't be there.
Is there a reason?
He's not going to be there.
What will he be doing instead?
He's afraid of us.
What will he be doing instead?
I don't have a schedule in front of me.
You know that's a lie.
I don't have the schedule in front of me.
Can you get we'll wait.
We can wait.
Okay.
Okay. Seriously.
So will there be any in-person?
Right now, none are scheduled.
You know, to say that we are paid protesters when our taxes pay his salary
Sure.
is an insult to all of his constituents. Okay, he's the only one being paid here. We protest out of conviction for our beliefs,
Sure.
something that he's not doing. He's being paid. If he really is doing this for his beliefs, then he can give up his paycheck. But to insult the people that go out and vote and say that we're being bussed in and paid, we're not. We pay him, and he needs to understand and get that straight. And he needs to come to the town hall meeting at the Macy next week so that we have an opportunity to say that. Because he surrounds himself with veterans on a regular basis.
Sure
But
does.
it seems
and
to
he's
me
happy
that he...
to. And he's two on staff.
And we thank you for your service. We're very
I'm not
proud
mad.
of you.
I'm
Thank
not
you.
mad. Thank you.
However, I don't understand why he's afraid of a bunch of women and why he won't come to the meeting. Why is he afraid of us? And
Okay.
we pay him.
Okay.
But you know what? Elections are coming up in 2 years, and he's going to be out of a job because if he's more afraid of Donald Trump than he is of his voters, he's in for a rude
I
awakening.
think
because
if
we're
he,
going to vote him
if he was
out.
more afraid of Donald Trump, he probably would not have voted against the repeal of the ACA.
Well,
Couple
we
weeks
just,
ago.
that's fine. And if he comes to the town hall meeting next Wednesday, we'll be happy to thank him for that. Because when he does right, we'll thank him.
Okay.
And
I'll
when
let
he
him know.
does wrong, we won't.
I will let him know.
And that's the power of the people, and that's why we're here.
My name is Frank Luna, Luna, and I serve as his district chief of staff.
I have a veteran on my staff, Joe.
Great.
He's my husband.
Thank you for your
Just
family
so
service.
it's clear that being patriotic and a supporter of military service is not reserved for one kind of thinking
I agree.
or another.
Wholeheartedly.
That's just my point.
Can you share with us? Can you share with us what evidence the congressman has for asserting that people are being bussed in, outside agitators, as well as being paid for?
Absolutely. There was an incident outside of our district office, as reported by the Burlington County Times. A woman from outside the district with New Jersey Citizen Action, I believe was the name of the organization. She lives outside the district. She's a paid organizer who put together a protest. Just the other night in our Toms River district office, there was a gentleman who is also associated with New Jersey Citizen Action, who is a paid organizer, who put together a protest outside of our office. There's two examples.
So you are saying that
Okay, so the organizer was paid. How about all the protesters?
I think
Were they all bussed in? Where's the bus? Are there pictures of the buses?
if you saw news reports, it was widely reported that had happened.
It was widely reported.
Fake news.
I fact checked. I'm sorry, but I fact checked. This bus, there's people being bussed in. There are no people being busted at protests in
If
town
this,
halls.
if this is a question and answer situation, we can do that all day. I'm happy to listen. Happy to refer anything that you guys like along to the congressman. Yes, ma'am.
Could you write down and document the things that you're talking about so that we
A
can
lot of
also
people
be
are
part of?
recording here.
No, I'm serious. Document it. You're telling me about stories that happened here and there and everywhere, but I have seen no documentation.
Of which
I think all of
stories?
us are widely reading the news. I'm not seeing that.
Of which
Is this a
stories are you
one-off, a
talking?
two-off? Please put that on the
But what
representative's
stories are you
webpage.
talking about?
what you're saying
The
is
ones
that
you
there are
Buses,
some
the pictures of the buses.
paid
All the
protesters.
people that are being bussed in and being paid. I would like some documentation on that to support that.
You just
What
cited
we
two
don't have-
Yes,
You
show
just
me.
cited two incidents. If in fact they're real, and I'm not saying that they're not, maybe they are. Maybe there was somebody who was paid to put something together. If that is in
Was.
fact valid, okay, I'm not questioning it. I don't know. If that's valid, put it on Congressman's website.
It's in the Burlington County Times.
Okay,
That's
put it
not
on.
hard evidence. A
it up.
newspaper is a newspaper. We're talking about payroll. We're talking
She's an
about.
employee of New Jersey Citizen Action.
So
Both of
it,
them.
what you're saying is it's not okay for somebody who has a job organizing citizen movements
I'm not saying
to
that.
come. Well,
You asked for an
you're
example.
now
How
you're
dangerous
going
were
against
these crowds?
yourself.
Yeah, were they hostile? I mean, even if they were paid, were they
How
hostile?
scary were
causing
these
chaos?
crowds?
Like us.
Were they hostile? I spent 2 hours with them. They were very, very nice people.
So what's the
So there's
problem?
nothing to be afraid of.
Of what?
We're the buses
Why
of
won't he come to a
hostile
live
protesters.
town hall if he's not a hostile group and there's nothing to be
Because
afraid
what
of?
we're seeing in the newspaper, in the Burlington County Times, is that Representative MacArthur has chosen not to appear at live town halls because he is afraid of violence or some kind of physical, unpleasant action. So you can't have it both ways. Either we are peaceful protesters or we're violent rabble rousers.
Overwhelming majority, I would say probably 99% of the folks that I've encountered, whether any group associated here, has been pleasant, local, happy, well-meaning, well-intentioned folks.
And that's why we'd like to.
So what's the problem?
99%.
Do you
why
have a
don't you have
police
a town
report
hall?
for the 1%?
So is it fair to say he's exaggerating?
Which claim?
Well, the 1%, I can't imagine.
That
he's-
we are very, very violent
He's been
people.
quoted as saying
And we're paid
that paid
protesters.
protesters are being bussed in to
Busted.
town halls all
Across
over
the
the
country,
place.
yeah.
There's no evidence for that.
Okay.
I've fact checked it.
Then we can agree to disagree.
There are news sites on not very reputable websites. They're all the same. They all have the same exact text. They all reference the same Washington Post article that doesn't exist.
We're speaking with you. Would
You
you mind
won't.
giving us the
Put it on camera,
courtesy?
Fine.
Just like you.
Oh,
You won't
Cool.
find that article in the Washington Post because it doesn't exist.
We're just asking for a face-to-face meeting with the
And
congressman.
we'll
I think the
be
goal
here
of
every
this
week.
is just to show him that we want to speak
Right.
freely to him.
Sure.
in a
And he has
peaceful
nothing
way.
to be
In a
afraid
peaceful
of.
exchange.
And that's our right as his constituents to have town hall.
and as his
Elected him.
employers,
And not
We pay him.
51% of the people elected him, but he serves all 100% of us.
if
I
I
was
don't
at
show up
30th
at my
Street.
job, I get
Do you
fired.
remember the Republican caucus meeting in Philadelphia a few weeks back?
I don't
All the
guess.
Republicans in Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was at 30th Street Station waiting for him to take a public Amtrak train.
Who's that? Waiting for who?
Waiting for Congressman MacArthur,
Okay.
along with the rest of the GOP Republican caucus. We were at Amtrak waiting to peacefully protest.
Okay.
And they changed their schedule and took a private train back to DC to avoid us.
Okay.
I'd like to know if that private train was paid for by taxpayer money.
That's a good question.
Well, I'd like to know.
You're his
I was
chief
there.
of
I saw it.
staff. You should know.
Train.
What train? An Amtrak train that they were supposed to take from Philly back to DC.
Did you with him that day?
Okay, so you guys don't know his schedule?
The guy holds about a dozen meetings a day.
This was a national Republican
I don't have the
caucus
answer.
convention in
don't-
Philadelphia.
I don't have the
It
answer.
was pretty well covered
Sir,
in
it's
the
pretty
news.
clear that you're getting a little worked up. So
Really?
why don't we just chill out?
Why don't you give us some answers?
Well, I went to Senator Menendez's office
Yeah.
about 3 weeks ago.
Sure.
There must have been at least twice as many people here. Everybody waited patiently, and 10 people at a time got to go upstairs and sit in a conference room. And one by one, we got to ask questions to their staffer. He was polite, he was helpful, he respected us.
Sure.
I don't see that MacArthur is making this happen for the people right here.
In what sense?
Well, because maybe we should be 10 at a time sitting in a conference table saying, how are you going to vote on this issue? How are you going to vote on that issue? I really want you to take into consideration, Scott Pruitt and his nomination and why we don't want him. When do we get a chance to tell him how we feel?
There's multiple forums which you can do that. You can do
I
it.
know that, but we can come
Look,
in
if
person,
you're-
just
okay,
like we
look,
did
look,
to
look,
Menendez's
look,
office.
okay,
We were
okay.
respected there.
Okay, and you're very respected here. We're very ready for
being
it.
respected.
We don't feel like it.
Okay. Well, we are waiting for you. This meeting was not requested with our office, so we're taking up 4 staffers for this meeting. So why?
Who we're paying for.
Okay.
Every
Sir,
Tuesday,
okay.
Menendez lets people come in. Every Tuesday.
If I'm not going to be able to speak, and I'm trying to be as patient as possible. In fact, I prayed this morning for patience, and I'm praying for it right now. But the one thing I will say,
We're praying for answers.
and that's fine, and that's fine. But if every time I open my mouth, I'm going to get interrupted, this meeting can be over. It's that simple. So if you're interested in a dialogue, not a show, which this is clearly a show, then we can talk. If you're not,
Mr. MacArthur could have shown up,
To
and then
this?
your 4 staffers wouldn't be here. He would be here.
Congressman MacArthur had a different schedule today.
And
Nobody.
he has a different schedule next
So
Wednesday as
when-
well.
when can we arrange for him to be
The
here?
goal is going forward is to have our voices heard
Sure.
in a way that we feel like we're being respected, just like everyone else.
Yeah.
We want a dialogue,
Yeah.
not a show.
And can we be notified when he's going to be here so we can come meet with him in person?
And the
That's what we're
dialogue is
asking for.
happening constantly via teletown hall meetings, via.
We want face-to-face.
Constantly?
I understand that.
How
yeah.
many has he had?
6
One.
or 7, I think, over
Telephone
the
town
first 2
halls.
years. Yeah.
First 2 years. We're
How many
talking
since
about
the election?
now.
1. He said 1.
One.
Okay, so that's
And
constantly?
that lasted
That's
an
how you
hour?
find constantly.
It lasted an hour. Yep.
1 hour. How many questions were
It
let
wasn't
through?
late. There was an issue with the technology.
Uh-huh.
Can I say something?
Sure.
real fast?
Yeah.
I've been on 3 of the town hall meetings. At every one, there's been a comment that said, if you weren't able to get your question answered, which I totally understand, not everybody's gonna be able to get their question answered during that time period because of the amount of people on the call. To leave a voicemail with what your question is, and your information, and someone will get back to you.
Sure.
2 times I've done it. No one has ever gotten back to me.
Okay.
Same
The,
here.
the last phone call
Same here.
that said, and I understand technical difficulties, believe me. I work with computers all day.
Sure.
And by the way, yes, you're all getting paid. I'm taking this time off
Sure.
of my job
Yeah.
with no pay to be here
Yeah.
because I care
Okay.
and I want a dialogue. I'm
Yeah.
not interested in a show.
Okay.
The last phone call said, same thing. You have a question, leave it.
Sure.
There was no opportunity to do that. And that may have been a technical difficulty, and I understand that. But if you're gonna say, get back, leave your voicemail,
Yeah.
and we will get back to you, please do it.
Sure. That's great feedback. Thank you.
I think one thing that would make this group happy is can we request to make an appointment where we could sit down with Mr. MacArthur?
Sure. You can make that request.
I'm making that request right now.
Okay.
That's
Can
our
we put
main
that
goal
through?
today.
Yeah,
is
that
the
is our
in-person
goal.
meeting.
Sure. And what is your name?
My name is Carrie Bales, Kerrry, Bayles.
You have all our names on the sign-in sheet.
She's the
Yes.
one requesting.
I'm
meeting.
requesting the meeting. Would you like to do it in the name of the organization?
Yes, Action Together Burlington County would like a meeting with Tom MacArthur.
And how many members do we have?
All 755 of us.
Maybe he doesn't want all of us there, we will.
Right,
Great.
tell us how many.
Who can I reach out to in regards to that request?
You can reach out to me.
All right. And what is your
Carroll.
Christine? CHRISTINA.
Yep.
CA.
RRELL.
Is there a best number to reach out, Christine?
856
Sure.
816 6089.
Great.
Yeah, I think that would make us happy because he's going to have more of the answers than you do, and we're not here to badger you. We're here to request this meeting.
Great. Is that it?
That's
Great.
it.
That's
Thank you,
it.
folks.
I have one more, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, just
sure,
real
sure.
fast, and this is actually a compliment. I think we'd all like to thank Congressman MacArthur for his vote, and the veterans that are here, wanted the veterans for their service. Thank you, because without your service, we wouldn't be here today.
Sure.
And
Thank you.
And we'd also like to thank him on his vote for keeping McGuire open and supporting this county and its acts.
Sure.
We're not here to just complain. We're here to also acknowledge the good that he does.
Thank you. Is that it?
Yep.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.